Hello, longboarding mom. My fudge is in the refrigerator sitting just a little bit longer so we could peel the wax paper off. I probably should have buttered that wax paper as well as the outside, because outside it just pops right out, but it's not coming off the paper very well. So in the refrigerator for just probably 15-20 minutes, and then we can take that paper off of it. But in the meantime, I'm gonna make my favorite cookies, monster cookies, and you've probably heard of those because usually people make them after Halloween because they have all that Halloween candy they want to get rid of. So it's a good candy, a good recipe to get rid of that extra candy you have, but I don't have any extra candy because I ate it all. This recipe actually is kind of gluten-free if you buy the gluten-free oatmeal, because it is flourless. It calls for, and this is my recipe, it's ancient, it's got oil stains on it, and I've had this for lots of years. It was sitting inside my other book. That's where I keep all my recipes, just kind of stashed inside. And I believe I might have this one written down somewhere as well, just in case I lose this paper. But it calls for 1 cup sugar, 1 cup firmly packed brown sugar, 1 cup peanut butter, 1/2 cup butter softened, 3 eggs, and 4.5 cups quick cooking rolled oats, 2 teaspoons baking soda, any of your favorite candies. I found the red and green M&Ms, chocolate chips, 1 cup of that, and because not everybody likes nuts, I put in half of the recipe, so I did 1/2 cup of the nuts, and I'm doing pecans again because that's what I like. You can put in peanuts or walnuts, whatever nut you like. So I actually have this little clip here, and sometimes you might have cabinets that have the little things on there, and I'm actually clipping it to my cabinet so the recipe is right in front of me and I can be able to read it real easily, and it's not on my counter space. So I'm going to start making these cookies and baking these cookies. The oven is already preheated. I've got all my ingredients mostly measured out, but I'm going to turn the camera so you guys can see it go into my mixing bowl and watch me measure some of the ingredients. So I'll be back in a bit. First, we're going to start with putting the butter into the mixing bowl. Hoping it's soft enough. I'm gonna mix that around. If your butter is too cold, it's not going to work, and it's not going to make your cookies very good. So, I kind of whip it around a little bit and let it warm up. We are going to add 1 cup of sugar and 1 cup of brown sugar to the butter and cream it up together. My regular sugar out. I use the Winco brand. Brown sugar, you can use whatever brand you find. You want to make sure it's packed inside. And it's probably easier to put it in a bowl. all packed inside there. Dump it in. I've got blended in the sink. I'm getting the butter and sugar off the side of the bowl so it'll mix better. Better. And this calls for 1 cup of peanut butter. Normally I use Jif, but they didn't have any for a while because of, you know, that recall and stuff. I had some, I ate it, I was just fine, whatever. Moving on, Winco isn't bad. So we're gonna do a cup of peanut butter. So gooey. I like to eat spoonfuls of peanut butter with chocolate chips on it. I kind of make my own little Reese's Pieces or Reese's peanut butter cups or whatever. The mini chocolate chips. I also like peanut butter on celery with raisins. That's really good. Okay, I'm gonna open this back up. And put the peanut butter in there. Monster cookies are so good. So if you're allergic to peanut butter, I'm pretty sure you might be able to swap this out for any nut that you can have. Another one out. We're gonna cream that together. Now we're going to add our eggs to the mixture one at a time. And remember, I always separate my egg first. My sister and I were talking about this the other day. She said she found, graphic, half a chicken in one of her eggs. So that's one of the reasons why she does the same thing as I do. Mine was never that gross. Already got eggshell in there. Ah. I did bad that time. Eggshells in it. While the eggshell is out, you can add it. Do this one better. There we go. Smells fine. Gave it a good sniff. Good egg. And I asked her if she had gotten an egg from a friend, because she gets eggs from friends sometimes from their chickens, and she said she hasn't gotten them in a while. This was a store-bought egg, so you really got to be careful on eggs, any kind of eggs. Last egg going in. lift this up so you can see. Kind of see that golden brown mixture in there. I don't know if you can see that on the camera very well. That is the base for all of the oatmeal. That's 4.5 cups of oatmeal, and I use the Winco brand. It's whole grain quick cooking oats. Works just fine. First we need some baking soda. 2 teaspoons of that. There is 1. And 2. Give that a good mix around, and then we'll start adding the oatmeal. About a 1/2 cup at a time. That way you don't have to, I won't make a mess that way. You can use the stand mixer up until it gets too stiff, and then you want to take it apart and mix the rest of the ingredients into it. I absolutely love my stand mixer. We have a attachment here that hooks to the end, and we grind our own hamburger. We buy a roast, a big roast from United Grocers. It's not called that anymore. They change the name all the time. So it's starting to get thicker and harder to turn. I'm going to add the rest of this to it, turn it off, and then add the candies to it. That is your cookie. Use your fingers. Get a little dirty, right? Get all that goody stuff off the beater there. Okay. Put that in the sink. Wash my hands up. We're gonna finish mixing in the oatmeal, and then we'll add our chocolate chips and candy to it. All the way down to the bottom, and make sure you get all that stuff stirred in, the butter and all that sugar. Okay, so that is stirred in there. I'm gonna add the chocolate chips. Stir it around. Then we're gonna add the M&Ms. Yum. Leave the nuts till the last couple of batches that I bake in the oven. My son didn't like nuts, when he was growing up. And he still doesn't like a lot of nuts, so I still don't put him in a lot of things because I want him to eat my cookies too. I don't want to have to eat them all. Okay, so that is what monster cookies look like before they get baked in the oven. So let's get some cookie sheets out, clean up our mess, get some cookie sheets out, put some in the oven. And I'll show you how easy they are to bake them. I've got all of my cookie sheets out, and when you make cookies, you want them as uniform as you can get them. So when they bake, they all bake at the same time. I used to use my tablespoons, and I would take a tablespoon, and kind of the rounder they are, the easier they are to get off onto the pan. So since I started with that, I'm going to finish with that so they're all the same. But as the years, I've been doing this, I don't know how many years, I loved baking cookies. So I've always made cookies, and if you notice, these ones didn't have any salt in them. I like cookies with no salt. But I finally broke down recently and bought myself one of these. It's a little cookie maker. So these cookies I usually put in the oven for 10 minutes and then I check them. And I usually do, and this sounds weird, about 11.5 minutes on my cookies. 11.5 to 12 minutes on 350 degree oven, preheated. And I will do my first batch just to test it. I always do one to test it to see if that's, like, that one was a little small. I'm going to add a little bit more to it. And you can put your mixture, your cookie mixture in the refrigerator each time between you bake them and stuff. So that's what they look like. They're going to go in the oven for 10 minutes and then we'll check them and see what they look like, and we'll put them back in probably for another 1.5 minutes. That's my first tester. The other cookies are in the oven. We are going to use my cookie one this time. Show you what that does. Makes it so much easier. Oops, that one's kind of big. Scoop that up. That's why you want to scrape it along the edge and make sure there's not a lot of excess on it. And my cookie sheets, I do not need to put anything on them. And really, in between baking the cookies, I just kind of wipe them off with a paper towel. I don't wash them until I'm all done. So oh, a chocolate chip jumped off. Let's put him there. And shout out to my husband. He's so awesome. He always does my dishes for me. I make the mess and he cleans up. He's awesome. We make a great team. I'm sure he'd rather eat the goodies than clean up after the goodies, but he does like to help me. Okay, one more, and we have a few minutes until those go in the oven. So we are gonna check the oven here in a little bit and we'll show you what they look like. These are the first batch. They're not quite cooled, but you don't want to keep them on the cookie sheet for too long. So I'm going to show you what it looks like. Golden brown. You don't want them too dark because then they won't taste good. Oh, that one's a little. Look at that. These ones might be a little underdone. Nope.
That's because of your tablespoon method.
Nope. As they sit, the sugars that are gooey, look gooey, will crystallize and they will be done. So you could tell because all of them are the same color on the bottom. Look at that. And I've got more ready to go in, and I've already put the pecans in my other batch. This, I'm just gonna take a paper towel and wipe it off and put more on it. And that is Monster Cookies. I will show you how to make Maxine cookies next time.